Okay. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Also in the back? Okay. Well, welcome. I'm glad that also some non-trigonometrics people are here. I'll jump right in because it's something important. So what on earth do digital products have to do with climate change, you will ask now? Well, digital is physical. Every digital product leaves a footprint and impacts our environment. I will show this with a concrete example. The homepage of the New York Times. On this day, its page weight on initial load was 13.3 megabytes. And scroll to the bottom, it summed up at almost 65 megabytes. Yeah, pretty heavy. And when a website is loaded, the energy used is roughly proportional to its page weight. So I tested it with the website carbon calculator, and as you can see, the tool was far from happy. And I have to point out that the tool also only catches what's there on first load, so the 13.3 megabytes. And this is an issue because this digital heavyweight attracts around 600 million users every month. So if we assume that 60% of visitors don't scroll any further than this, and 40% scroll down to the bottom, this would mean an energy consumption of over 180 megawatt hours every day. So just to give you a relation, this is enough to power 40 average Austrian households for an entire year. Okay, but what does this mean in terms of greenhouse gas emissions? So if we make an estimation based on the global average carbon grid intensity, this would mean around 88 tons of carbon emissions every day. Even when the whole process, so from the data center through the network to the end user devices, were exclusively powered by solar energy, this would still result in 9 tons of carbon emissions every day. And sorry, but that's not all. So electricity production leads to carbon emission. Carbon emissions, the amount, of course, depending on the source of the energy. But data centers also use huge amounts of water for cooling. Hardware manufacturing is far from eco-friendly. We are producing really, really huge amounts of e-waste, of which only a small portion is really properly recycled. And many digital products also encourage overconsumption, leading to further environmental problems. As Robert Swan put it, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. And that's why I want to talk about Green UX. Yeah, what is it all about? It's about balancing the needs of your users with those of our home planet. So we have to switch from a human-centric design approach that always focuses on the needs of a specific user group at a specific point in time, usually now, towards a planet-centric or life-centric design approach that means to put the responsibility for the planet and humanity as a whole, now and in the future, at the heart of every decision. So we build up on classic UX principles and expand the focus to 3 different aspects. Aspect 1 is the environmental impact of the system during its entire product life cycle. One part of this are the emissions caused by the system in operation. The next facet is to enable users to adopt more sustainable behavior or make more sustainable choices. And finally, also to raise awareness for the issue. So talking about the environmental impact of the system in operation, it's considering the energy source and improving its energy efficiency. So for the example of a website, this would mean using green hosting and sustainable CDN networks, reducing unnecessary page loads, reducing the amount of data of each individual page, and also considering the energy consumption of end-user devices. To enable users to make more sustainable choices, you can use green nudging. So one example is to inform and visualize the climate impact, like the The example on the top is from Escape. They show the impact of each garment they sell, and the other example is from a Scandinavian grocery delivery service. There you can see the impact of each of your orders. Another measure would be to use greener default settings. And finally, to raise awareness, you can inform and make the impact of the system perceptible. This is my all-time favorite example from Organic Basics. Unfortunately, it's not online anymore, but they had this special low-impact website version where they really brilliantly reduced the page weight to a minimum and also informed their users about the emissions and the energy they saved compared to the regular website. Another great example is Branch Magazine. They show different versions of a page depending on the amount of renewable energy that is currently available on the grid. So on the left it would be when there is a lot of renewable energy, and on the right when there is no renewable energy. And now I can read your minds, because the question you will ask me now is, okay, but what about AI? Of course, AI can help make many processes, from logistics over energy grids and agriculture, more sustainable and efficient, but at the same time it has a significant environmental impact itself. You remember this tiny little energy-hungry web page? Yeah. Compared to this, AI is a huge monster. Or as Stephen Hawking said, AI will either be the best or the worst thing ever to happen to humanity. In many ways, AI is like plastic. It gives us incredible new capabilities and convenience, enabling us to create things faster, easier, cheaper, and at a larger scale than ever before. Plastic made our modern life possible in many, many ways, and there are many areas of application that also benefit sustainability. But it was generations after the invention of plastic that we realized the waste and the massive environmental damage this progress would cause. Like this, AI also comes with risks, as it has the potential to fuel environmental crises at a massive scale. So, will we learn from the story of plastic, or will we repeat it? Just as we underestimated the long-term consequences of plastic, currently we risk repeating the same mistakes with AI. So these are a few examples of where AI can really help tackling sustainability challenges. But as you might have realized, all of these rely on classic machine learning, which is far less resource-intensive than GenAI. And just like sorry, the mic is out.
The screen.
No, it's good. Okay, it's good. Just like plastic transformed production and consumption, GenAI makes it possible to create content at the click of a button. So now we are flooding our digital world with endless lookalike content. And this image of AI-generated content reminds me somewhat of this image: plastic waste washed up on our beaches. Both are the result of mass consumption and convenience, and both come with real consequences. The collective impact may not be visible at first glance, but it sums up, just like every piece of plastic on the beach. In the 1950s, advertising celebrated throwaway living, with consequences we are still struggling with. And just like plastic was once sold as magic for our modern life, today AI is marketed as pure magic that effortlessly transforms our ideas into reality. Sparkles everywhere. But this magic comes at a high price. So in the 5 years until 2030, electricity demand from data centers is set to more than double, while AI is of course the key driver. And this growth also means tripling water consumption of data centers, increased hardware manufacturing, growing e-waste, and accelerating overconsumption even more, leading to further environmental problems. But of course, AI is here to stay. So we must find responsible ways to use and implement it, minimizing its impact and also keeping our social and ethical responsibilities in mind. But this is not part of my talk today. So I want to show this slide again just to remind us that everyone is responsible. Each of us decides how we use and consume AI. And for those of us working and being part of creating AI solutions, I collected a few key tips. I'm sorry, but this list is not complete, so I would like to share ideas with you and connect and talk it through, but it's a beginning. So, before you decide that you have to implement AI in your solution, every team should take a step back and ask yourself some honest questions. Like, is this really a use case for AI? Or could it just as well be solved with a simple solution? And are you really building this for your users? Or just for some CEO so that he or she can shine in the next shareholder meeting? And does the benefit really outweigh the hidden price? So if you decided you really have to implement AI, you can use the same framework that I presented for Green UX. So tackling the environmental impact of the system is again about the source of the energy and improving energy efficiency. So make sure that renewable energy is used wherever you can influence it. You can even consider self-hosting if it improves sustainability, and monitor energy consumption. Then choose the most efficient model for your task. Apply model quantization and pruning. And then design your solution in a way to guide users. For instance, predefined prompts or prompt templates not only reduce energy consumption, but also ease cognitive load for your users. To guide your users to more sustainable decisions, you can use smart green nudging. So if you're already implementing intelligent nudges, please don't only do it to boost profit, but also to guide your users to better behavior. Like for instance, in online shopping, you can use personalized nudges to reduce returns without limiting sales. This saves emissions, costs, and benefits both the business and the environment. Or you can show more sustainable options without limiting freedom, so making sustainable choices natural and easy. Or what if AI informed us about the hidden costs of an action, so we could all take better responsible decisions. And finally, regarding AI, I think raising awareness is really crucial. So we have to raise awareness, inform, and shift the narrative. So don't sell AI as magic. Be really clear about how it really works. And also never humanize the tool, because doing so, just like selling the AI, the magic narrative, leads to the false conclusion that it has no impact and no limits. Actively inform your users about capabilities and limitations of your tools, and also communicate the environmental impact. So that leads us to the final question. Is Green UX the better UX? Or in other words, how can you sell apart from eco-friendliness? Which arguments can you use apart from eco-friendliness to sell greener solutions to your boss or your client? I can only touch on this shortly today, but done correctly, and with done correctly I mean truly knowing your users, always giving them the information and solutions and features they need at the right time and in the most efficient way, not only leads to a more environmentally friendly solution, but it also improves usability, performance, findability, accessibility, and cost efficiency. All important pillars for successful digital products, and I think really good arguments. To close, I want to share this quote by Tom Greenwood that I fully support. So we as digital professionals really should take our responsibility and create a greener internet. Thank you.